Hey folks, welcome back to the TractorFella channel, where we cannot detect engine speed. On today's episode, we're going to go ahead and figure out why this thing can't detect RPM. Lost power earlier today and sat there waiting for it to fire up, waiting, and nothing happened. So here we are. Could be something simple like a low battery. Maybe the engine's not cranking fast enough. Maybe there's a loose wire and we don't have cranking at all. Anyway, let's see what happens. Off. Okay, that should reset our light. And manual. No crank. What in the world was that? It sounds like a starter relay, or maybe the battery really is dead. Let's start at the basics. Let's get the meter and see what kind of voltage we have coming out of our battery. Step 1, place stick on generator and wait. Step 2, acquire stick. Okay. Thank you. Step 3, remove front cover. You guys having a good day? Yeah, not bad. It's beautiful out here. 68, sunny. A couple of puffy clouds in the sky. The weather did a complete 180. Nice job, Titan. Thank you. Can you not do that? That would be great. You guys all right? Might be a little sore tomorrow. Just put some ice on it. And cover removed. Okay, let's check our battery. So when I was learning about this thing, we had a technician come out and he was kind enough to show me some of the things that I need to keep a monitor on, or need to keep an eye on rather. One of them being the life of the battery. Oh, well that looks really good right there, huh? Yeah, check that out. Nice. Nice, good connection right there. Ground side looks great. Hot side, not so much. Let's see what we have here. Cold side and hot side. Yeah, she's charging. We have plenty of voltage. If I had to guess, this little guy is not exactly contacting well. This might turn into a pretty boring episode. Is it a 13? Yes. And we're right next to the housing, which is fantastic. It's a great way for you to immediately short to ground and weld your wrench to your battery. Oh geez, that's nasty. Can't believe we didn't have an issue with this before. Almost forgot to shut off the breakers to the house because the charging system is powered by the 120 that comes from the house. And I found out the really hard way that if you decide to either touch these cables together or maybe you put the hot side to ground, you will burn up the charging system inside the generator very quickly. Here's the breaker I was talking about. That's what supplies power to the house, as well as stopping power from getting to the generator so we don't burn up the battery charger. Let's get to work. How thrilling is it to watch an episode on YouTube where somebody cleans a battery? Isn't it great? This frickin' red thing. Oh, it does have the ability to come off. Yes. Get out of there. Thank you. Ouch. Way to hit yourself. Good thing I grabbed such a small wrench to do this with. Man, it's about eating up that bolt. Alright, I'm going to work on this little guy. I'll see you in a sec. Drill on a wire brush. Might as well be brand new. Oh, freaking bees. It's the time of year where they all just lose their mind. Of course, they all gotta be wasps. I've never really liked this because it's, I don't know, I like the wire brush style better, but we'll see how it works today. It actually like cuts out pieces of lead. Don't really want to just clearance the frickin' cable end every single time I want to clean it. Oh, what do you know, another wasp. Get out of here. Dang it. Go find someone else to bother. Honestly, we'll reconnect the hot side first. Oh great, it looks like that cable's about to break. That cable end. It's not one thing, it's something else. I have some bulb grease here, just a little bit left. Go ahead and take advantage of that. Okay, we're gonna do this gingerly because I don't want to break that cable end. I think that's tight enough. Just kidding. Okay, now it's tight enough. All right, I think that fixed it. I have my doubts. I need to tighten up the negative side, and then we'll try it out. Okay, cross your fingers. 13.3, beautiful. All right, so we're still charging. Okay, I'm gonna hit the manual button. Let's see if we fire up. Nope. I guess we're on to the next step. Sorry about the noise. That's our water heater. Little baby 7mm. Caution, warning, caution, warning. Don't remove this, don't remove this. You'll get electrocuted. Got it. Holy cow, how long is this thing? Oh my gosh. Oh, that one's gone. Okay, that's easy. There we go. Oh, that looks dangerous. Oh, jeez. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Now that the frickin' water heater has shut off. Oh, never mind. There's a car. Wow. How incredibly surprising. Okay, let's do this again, and I want to see where the noise is coming from. Here we go. Looks like this. Whatever the heck that is. That a transformer? That's a weird looking coil of some type. It's like a coil without any wrapping on the outside like you're used to seeing. Does it really need this many connections? Why are there so many connections to this thing? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna get zapped by 220 and it's gonna suck. Okay, connections are officially wiggled. Let's turn this back on. Just because, and try again. This thing is humming. Like I can feel it. I'm thinking that really is just a transformer. Well, you know what? Let's read and not be dumb. 230 volt. Okay, yeah, there you go. 50 to 60 hertz. Made in Mexico. This is a transformer, and I bet it's transforming our 240, 220, whatever the heck you want to say, into something that's usable for the rest of... Well, let's touch some other stuff. Maybe this is the starter. Nope. What is that? Is this it? No. Ah! That's it. That is it. Oh, geez, what is all this garbage? Let's just wiggle a bunch of wires, see if something wakes up, right? Because that always fixes things. Okay, everything's been wiggled. No, it's just doing Morse code. Well, looks like we need a solenoid. Those are some little baby nuts on there. Jeez. Let me guess, these are passed through too. They are. Are you kidding me, guys? All right, well, first things first. Need to mark these so that I put them back in the right spot. 1 dot. 1 dot. 1, 2, 3 dots. And the last one, we're not going to dot at all. Okay, there we go. We are undone and out of the way. It is a 5.5mm. Oh, jeez. All right, I'm going to work on getting that off, and I will see you guys in a little bit. All right, here we are. Zhongchuan 855AW 1AFC1. 12 volt. This just tells the starter relay to engage, basically. Sends it 12 volts to allow it to crank. We know this is junk. In the meantime, I wish this wasn't sealed, but I'm definitely going to cut into it. Maybe we can make it work, and then reseal it with the all-turn plastic welder. Come on, baby, warm up. Now we're cooking with bacon. Definitely through. Okay. Whew. Gotta let this thing chill. Don't breathe, by the way. Okay, I guess we'll see what's inside now. I'm pretty excited. We'll see if I damaged anything cutting through this or not. Hey, there it is. Actually, no, I don't think I did damage anything. So you can see in there, this is our solenoid. That is what energizes this little arm right here and pulls the arm into it and closes those two contacts right down there. They look like a set of points. And if I had to guess, this part may be damaged, which is why I can't hold it down, or the contacts are dirty. So, I don't know, let's just poke around. see what we can figure out, or can't figure out. So when the solenoid is energized, this little arm right here closes, and you can see those points in there touch each other. What this was doing was, for some reason, I should be able to plug this back in, manually close these, and it should start cranking the engine, right? I just wanted to show you this really quick. So you can see right there, it says COM, C-O-M. I believe that stands for common, like the ground. And then you have two, well, one post, one spot where there would be a post. That's NO and NC. NO means normally open, and C means normally closed. So the difference being, ours is normally open, which means our points are not touching each other. When you energize the solenoid, it closes them. Now, if it were opposite, these would normally be closed, and when you energize the relay, it would open them. And this would probably be, I'm sure, completely set up differently. But I just thought that might interest you. All right, so we're going to play around a little bit. I have my leads from my meter hooked up to a 12-volt battery, and I want to see if we can let the smoke out of this thing. So we have common over here, and I believe we touched this to activate the solenoid. Nope, not at all. How about this one? Nope, how about this one? How about our battery? Is it completely dead? Well, let's switch it. Maybe I have them reversed, because I don't know what I'm talking about. Yep, don't know what I'm doing. Ah! Well, that's not a good sign that the relay works. That's what it was doing. Oh, geez. Maybe I just cut into a perfectly good relay. You want to watch? See? This relay works completely fine. I'm going to be extremely upset if it turns out to be an issue with our little controller on the generator. All right, so what do we know? We know that our ground side is 0 dots. We know our hot side is 3 dots, and that is what is supposed to activate our starting sequence. So let's back probe 0 dot and 3 dot. There's 0 dot and 3 dot. Where are you? There you are. Now, when I turn this to manual, the switch, we should get, oh my lord. So when I turn this to manual, we should get some type of voltage being sent from the controller to start the engine. We get source voltage. Okay, we just set the light right there. If it's flashing, no RPM sense. Okay, so that's good. It wasn't chattering. Okay, let's plug this back in without any load on the output side. Okay, so we're going to do 3 dot to 3 dot, and we're going to do 0 dot to 0 dot, and we're going to turn this on and see if it goes nuts. Now it's working fine. What the H? Let's measure the resistance when this thing decides to turn on the solenoid, just for kicks. Yep, perfect continuity across those points. Okay, well that's a good sign. Now, which one of these has source voltage? Because essentially what we're doing is we are closing this relay to send voltage down to our starter solenoid. But I would like to see which one of these leads has source power. That one. That one is always powered. But the only way that we start telling the solenoid to crank is by closing this relay. Because then, once those points are closed, then we send electricity. This wire would be the output wire that goes down to the starter. I bet this is just short to ground. Yep. Okay, so what we can do is another fun test. Fun test. We're going to plug in our source voltage to its pin, like so. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we are going to measure the output. This pin, number 1, would be what goes down to our starter. We're going to see how the output looks from the solenoid when we tell it to crank. Perfect. Source voltage. Now, we are to the point where we are now ready to hook it up to the starter. And we are now going to plug this one in. This is our last terminal. This one sends the signal down to the starter motor to start cranking the engine. I'm going to get my tools off here in case it just magically starts to work again. If it works now, I'm going to be happy, but I'm going to also be upset. I'm going to be happy because now we have a functioning generator. I'm going to be upset because now there's a potential that we have an unreliable starting generator because something was preventing it from starting before. So, oh, whatever. I'm just yakking. Let's hit the manual button and see what happens. Okay, we have a problem. downstream to the starter. And I tore that relay apart for no reason. I mean, realistically, I don't feel too bad. You know, how many times do you immediately change a relay out on a Ford when the starter won't start? There's our starter motor. That bulbous on top, that's the relay, or the starter solenoid, I should say. When we close that relay up above and we send it 12 volts through that pin, that would be what energizes the starter relay, which closes the contacts, which spins the engine. So what we're going to do now, since we know this is most likely our pin, I'm going to pull that off and we're going to check continuity from here up to the relay. Okay, I'm going to pull the pin off the back of the relay, boop, shove my meter into it, and we're going to take that up to lead number 1, or yellow dot number 1 rather. And we're going to see if our signal wire down to the starter has continuity. Dang it, it does. Does that mean our starter's screwed? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to use my meter lead to send 12 volts directly to the starter, bypassing everything else. Okay, so what we're doing, this is the wire that sends 12 volts to the starter motor. I am taking my meter lead and I'm going to touch it directly to 12 volt source battery power. It's going to tell us two things. One, it's going to tell us if the starter's good. If the starter starts cranking, we know the starter's good. That also means that something in this control scheme here can't handle trying to start the starter. And I don't know what that means. Here we go. Nope. Nothing. I touched it, it sparked, and then it quit. That tells me our starter is not in good shape. Nope, not at all. We have like a dead short in the starter motor. To sum it all up, all this annoying electrical diagnosis, I've sent 12 volts directly from the battery down to the starter solenoid, and it's not doing anything. So that tells me that we have a problem with our starter. How am I going to do that? I'm going to have to pull the entire cover off this thing to access that starter motor. Oh my gosh. Okay, is what it is. Well, I'm sure this won't fix anything, but you know what? It's worth a shot. Okay. Yeah, didn't think so. I can't get to anything back here. This sucks really bad. Really, really bad. Well, folks, I'm calling it a day. I'm going to call up the people that originally installed this before we moved in and see if they have any recommendations. Oh, dear Lord. What is happening? I quit. I'm done for today. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're gonna put this thing back together. For another beautiful day. And what do you know? We don't have any power today. So let's do a little research on this Generac Guardian 52430. Well, look at this. Gentech Power. Generac generator troubleshooting. Starter removal. I have a Guardian 13 kilowatt with the metal cabinet circa 2008. Is there a trick to removing the starter? It's original and finally quit. Thanks from a senior. Oh, okay, senior. No trick. Just have to do it blind by feel. Very hard to maneuver it out of cabinet though, but it can be done. From the owner of a 52430, that's us, awesome, which is the same configuration, it helps to remove the alternator air duct, which is attached to the rear cabinet wall. It's held by 2 bolts, top and bottom. That should give you a little more room. Let's go look at this thing and see if we can figure out how to remove that air duct. Okay, so here we are. Here's our air duct that is used to help cool the generator, or alternator, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like there's traffic already. Unbelievable. And it looks like, if I turn you upside down, we have a bolt right here, and we have a bolt in the same spot on the bottom side. So I'm going to figure out what size that is and get myself a wrench. Okay, after some trial and error, it is an 8mm. So I'm going to work on those 2 bolts, and I'll bring you back when some really exciting stuff starts to happen. Okay, 2 bolts are out. Let's see if this is going to move. It's been stuck on there for a while, I would say. You said remove it. Well, how the heck do you do that? Can we at least slide it back? There we go. That should work. Oh, there's a rubber seal on it. Dang. Nope. we'll see if we can get that back into place. There we go. Okay, well, that made a little space, I guess. We're hitting another screw back here that's in the way, and we can't go. Can we just crank it out of the way? I guess that's good enough. Now we can get you guys down in there, and you can tell me where where I need to actually find the bolts. Okay. Where are the bolts? I can't see a dang thing. Well, I'm going to review this footage and see what I can find. Okay, so I reviewed the footage, and they go into the block this direction, way up at the front. So, yeah, that's going to be really good. Well, only one way to take a bite out of that elephant. It's a 13 millimeter for the top and the bottom. I love this little kit by Gear Wrench. It's super helpful. Let's see what we can do. Oh, she's on there. Holy cow. Why is it so tight? Okay, I need a bigger wrench to break these loose. We'll try the bigger one. Okay, we're on. Oh, there we go. Okay, wow. I like that. Go back to the little guy, so I have some more wiggle room. Okay, I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. Oh yeah. Okay, bottom one has been successfully removed. Now, the top one, which I can barely get to. I think I'm going to cut the zip tie holding this loom in place, because I cannot get past the loom. Let's clip this guy over here. There we go. Speaking of which, I should probably disconnect the battery. That would be a smart thing to do. There, that's better. Oh good, it's starting to rain. My socket's too thick. Ugh. I'm gonna have to get a standard wall socket for that. Okay, be right back. Well, I can hear our water heater running, so the power's back on now. That's cool. Oh well. This needs to get done one way or another. Oh man, that was tight. Good news. Little starter's moving.
Want some watermelon?
No thanks, bud.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all set. Got my stubby ratchet on there now. Hey, we're off. All right. So, I'm going to disconnect the battery, pull the wires off here, and see what we can do before you get poured on. Actually, I've decided we're going to try something, and I'm really afraid to try it. We're going to try to crank that with the starter disconnected from the engine to make sure the engine's not locked up. Cross your fingers that this doesn't work. Okay, good. Thank goodness. I was worried about that. Okay, so here we are, trying to get the starter out. This blue wire is our crank signal. Our request to crank wire has been disconnected. Now we need to get the B+ wire off of there. All right, got the shield pull back. These are battery nut pliers. Didn't even know they were a thing until I found them in my toolbox. Why am I getting arcing? The negative cable's disconnected. What the heck is going on? All right, I'm gonna pull the positive side off. And we are disconnected from the house power, so what in the world is going on? Where is this thing getting power? Okay, we're not arcing anymore. I'm thoroughly confused on that one. Got another red wire on the B+ terminal. Thank you. Finally, we're free. Let's go look at this thing. Okay, folks. I'm guessing what's broken is something within the starter solenoid. Gently. Because these things have torque. We should be able to connect to the positive side to a positive voltage source, aka the Gulu. Connect the battery here, connect the negative, touch it to the case, and it should spin the motor. if we're lucky. Positive to B+. We'll turn on our voltage there. And nope, I guess it doesn't work that way. I just don't know what I'm doing. That's what it comes down to. Okay, let's just take it apart. Looks like we have a Torx head here. Oh man, we're gonna have to take this thing completely apart. Then we have Allens for the rest. That's weird. Generac Power Systems. Actually, I need to get that part number before I lose it. P104555150E9323, 12 volt. Whoop, stay. Okay, I found a Torx somewhat close to it. T15, probably not the right size, but maybe we'll get lucky. Yes, we are lucky. What a great day. Okay, the rest are Allen. Gonna go the lazy route today. And go. Now, let's see if this thing explodes into a spring-loaded disaster here. Easy. Easy. Please don't explode. Oh wow, that wasn't so bad. Hey, and we can look at how this works too. How exciting is that? Okay, you energize this little guy. It pulls this down, right? Oh shoot, where did that go? Right there. As I was saying, this gets energized. Ting! Pulls this down, like so. Pushes the starter gear up. The contacts inside of here, there's like a little plate that crosses the positive and ground side. And that is what energizes the motor and starts spinning the motor. I'm sure most of you knew that. So now that we know this comes apart, pin is out. Do we want to take this all the way out? I don't know. Just kind of talking to myself here. Oh, well, there you go. Look at that. Okay, we're going to rock it out of the way. And we're going to take off our little rocker arm. Okay, now we need to get our solenoid off of there. Looking at that little pin down in there. It pushes, so that's good. So we just have regular Phillips screw heads. Beautiful. Nope, not a good idea. That was a dumb idea. Okay, neither of those are coming off. Why companies ever decided to use regular Phillips screw heads, I will never ever understand. There's one. And there's two. Okay, so now we should be able to resume our normal screwerly activities. And no, I'm definitely not going to replace those, because the odds of me having something like that are slim to none. Okay, we have a shim. Oh, geez, there's... What does that do for me? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get into this thing, am I? What a crock. It's a sealed unit. So is this just a giant coil on the inside? Is that what that is? I'm guessing to be able to pull this down with all that spring force that's going against it, I'm guessing this is just one big giant coil. And I'm also guessing that the inside is shorted across some of the coil. Well, that's extraordinarily disappointing. Okay, we're going to try this again. I think I figured it out. Negative to here, positive to the B+, and then jump between positive and the post here. What the hell? Are you serious? No, the Gulu. I don't think the Gulu likes that very much. Let's try that again. Yeah, Gulu doesn't like that at all. Why is it working now? Alright, I've got it hooked up to a charged lawnmower battery. Let's try again. Woo! I'm gonna have to put this dang thing back together, aren't I? Let's try this again. This should be able to ground through the body. We should start. So the starter is fine. Why won't it crank when mounted to the engine? Okay, let's go hook this back up and, I don't know, try it with it just sitting there. You guys saw it. I showed you, I ran a hot wire directly from the positive side of the battery, touched it to this post, and it started arcing like it was drawing a huge amount of current. I wonder if something's shorting out in the control circuit? Oh, this sucks. It really does. I don't understand what's going on here. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold the starter. We're gonna plug it into its starter signal wire. I'm gonna touch this thing to ground, and we're gonna see if it starts trying to crank. You ready? I'm ready. It does not. Now I'm gonna remove that little red wire, and we're gonna see if it decides to crank. I'm losing my mind here, folks. One nut at a time. I'm fairly certain this red wire goes to our charging circuit. And we do not want to ground out that wire, because that'll roast the charger. Okay. Motor is grounded to case. Nothing. Let's do the manual jump routine. Nothing. It's shorting out. Do you see that? What in the... Is our ground faulty? All right, let's do some basic checks. Battery voltage, 11. So that's a little bit low. Let's see if the charger works. Oh, well, I took out the system fuse. Let's see if charger works. It's back here, and it's not hooked up. How about now? Yes. Okay, thank goodness. Let's hook our battery back up. Battery voltage, 13.3. I'm gonna probe the starter wire again. See if the starter wire is sending source voltage when we try to start it. Yes, it is. So the system is trying to start the engine, but something's screwed up. Okay, I want you to see this so you know I'm not insane. First of all, I've isolated the charging circuit with a bunch of tape, so it's safe and sound. I'm touching the starter to the engine case. I am going to cross the B+ to the starter relay. Do you see it sparking? Why is it doing that? We did the same test on the bench and it spins. I feel like I'm missing something stupid. Let's go back to the bench. Maybe it's suddenly faulted again. Okay, here we are again. Battery plus hooked up, ground. I'm connected to a car battery. Let's see what happens. Okay, I need to do some research. Okay, so you're gonna have to take my word for it, but I did a bunch of research, like a good hour's worth of forums, and this buzzing in the panel ordeal is somewhat common. A lot of no answers out there to the real problem. But one person said, a lot of guys were saying bad battery, blah, blah, blah. That battery's not old. I'm fairly certain it's not a bad battery. But one fix that actually I finally found was a bad ground to the engine. They said it ohmed out okay, but for some reason the continuity wasn't enough and it screwed with that relay up there. So they ran a new ground cable and that fixed the issue. So I brought over these and we're going to go from the negative post on the battery to the engine block somewhere, and we're going to see if that starter decides to spin over. Okay folks, moment of truth. I really hope this solves our mysterious conundrum. Alright, system fuse is back in. That's off. I'm going to hook up our normal blue wire, which should trigger the starter to start using the relay under this panel. Okay, blue wire is attached. We're going to hold the motor to the chassis, and this is insane. Try the jump method. Nope, it's just arcing. I've put in the battery that I was using to bench test the starter. Let's see if anything happens now. If it was a dead battery or a useless battery this whole time, I might just be a little irritated. No, it's not. Wow, how surprising. And we're back for a new and frickin' annoying day. So I have called around to about 8 different Generac dealers, and 2 of them gave me some good tips. One guy said it's possible that even though the starter bench test's okay, there could be a winding that's grounding out somehow. I'm not fully understanding how that's possible when it works fine on the bench, but whatever. Talked to a different guy. He said it's most likely your engine ground, even though I ohm out the engine ground and it shows up fine. So I want you guys to see this now. Look over here. Positive to positive, ground to ground. Positive to positive, ground to ground. Jump the terminal. It's locked up now. You're telling me that every time I tested this on the bench, it worked okay, but then every time I brought it back here, it suddenly decides to fail? What are the odds of that actually happening? Let's check this battery. I even swapped this battery out yesterday with 11.2. Okay, let's go back to the bench again and try the starter again. Okay, this is a familiar scene. If this works, I'm gonna throw it against the wall. Is that battery somehow okay. Okay, ground, positive. I'm going to pull this battery again. I did this yesterday. I'm going to pull this battery again. I'm going to put this battery in its place, and we're going to try yet again. Now, I'm going to take this battery, and I am going to take it far away from us because I've heard of Generac batteries exploding. Let's check this battery. Okay, beautiful. All right, I've reconnected the battery plus to the starter. Let's hook up the battery down here. It is not yet hooked up. I'm going to test the battery again to see if there's some giant drop in voltage. Nope, still the same, 12.7. We're going to alligator clip our probes to the battery terminals and watch for anything wild when we go to crank this over. Actually, I'm just going to touch it to the case and see what happens. Nothing. Okay, is it going to crank? No, it's not. Okay, let's jump the terminals. Alright, I'm hooking up my crank wire again. The guy on the phone said wire 56 is the hot side. That should engage the relay. I'm going to disconnect it. We're going to run a hot lead directly from the battery to pin 56 and see if it will crank the starter over. Here we go. Maybe we need that to be powered, and we need the manual button turned on. No, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna play around for a sec. Okay, so I was supplying power to the wrong wire. 15 and 16 look very similar. If I supply 12 volts to wire 16, which goes down to the starter, and then I touch the starter to the case, it spins. If we ask the engine controller to do it, it doesn't. So that leads me to a couple possible conclusions. One, our battery fried and screwed up the controller to hold down the relay. I think our controller is fried. Or we can try something else. We can try supplying power to the input pin that goes out to the starter motor and try to manually turn it on that way. Yep, our controller's fried. All right, let's do a recap here since everyone's confused, myself included. That was a boo-boo. I believe this is correct. So we have our electronic control unit, we'll call it. It is supposed to supply power to the side of the relay that closes the little tab. It supplies power to close the tab. It also supplies power to crank the starter motor. When we do it, we hear it buzz and do crazy things. Obviously, there's a problem somewhere. If I supply power here to this side that passes through to the starter, and I hit the manual button, this successfully closes and sends power to the starter motor. So I believe what's going on is something in our controller is messed up, causing it to flutter when it tries to send power to the starter motor. I wish I knew what, and I don't. This is wire 16. I traced wire 16 and it goes back to some circuit boards. So I think what happened is our battery decided to short circuit itself, even though it still reads decent voltage. That caused this to screw up when it tried to start and do a exercise last time. Because you saw the current battery won't crank the starter motor. It just arcs and makes crazy weird stuff happen. But when I brought over the deep cycle battery and I hooked it up to the starter, it spins it fine. So I think our battery faulted somehow, wrecked our ECU, and now we can't start the engine using the controller. So I'm going to call up, I called 8 different Generac suppliers to get information, and I think we finally figured out the problem. So I'm going to go find a wiring diagram, figure out where pin 16 goes. Maybe it's loose on the control unit. I don't know, but this is getting heavy. Okay, you ready for this? SC stands for starter contactor. Here's wire 16. Wire 16 goes over here, goes to the other page, comes up and over, and goes to the SCR. SCR stands for starter contactor relay. That comes over here. That is controlled or completed by wire 15, which comes over here and comes down. Goes to the fuse, which we know is good. Comes over here. Comes over to switch number 2, which is the set exercise button. You push that button when you want it to learn when to do an exercise once a week. It also comes up to switch number 1. Switch number 1 happens to be the manual auto off button. So there's a potential that something in our switch may not be working right, but that also comes through, I'm not understanding, 15A and 194. 15A comes over here and goes to control printed circuit board. That could be part of the problem. The circuit board is not sending what we need it to through the switch. Something inside the switch could be the problem. So wire 15A at the circuit board, I bet if we put 12 volts there and then we hit the manual side of the switch, I guess we could see if that does what we need it to. 194, where does that go? Does that go to ground? 194, 194. 12 volt DC transfer relay coil. Oh geez. I'm pretty sure that's working correctly because when I hit the manual button, I can hear a secondary click come out of a relay or transfer coil, I guess in this case. So I think wire 194 is okay. I'm curious about wire 15A though. Okay, so the switch came out nice and easy. Excuse me. I found wire 15 comes in right here from our printed circuit board. I have supplied it 12 volts, and if I click the switch on, and I touch the starter, it tries to start. So that comes from our printed circuit board, which really sucks. Oh man, bummer. All right, folks, I'm pretty sure we know the problem. Good news is if I get a new battery, I can at least jump start this thing by jumping the relay. That's not a good long-term solution. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to put this thing back together, put the starter back on there, which I'm sure is just going to be a fantastic time. Yeah, we'll see if this baby fires up. Also, I tried again to bench test this starter with that battery, and it does the same thing. It arcs out to the starter like the starter's bad, but I'm pretty sure that battery is internally toast. Yeah, money, 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 because we all have so much of it. Okay, well, starter's back on. It went on surprisingly well, actually. Didn't take a whole lot of effort. We are hooked up to battery. I put the cooling vent back on for the generator itself. So let's go apply 12 volts to pin number 16 over there. Hit the manual switch and cross our fingers. Okay, 12 volts, and go. Okay. I smell propane. Let's get the jump pack. So one thing I've always found interesting about this generator is the amount of time it requires to crank before it actually starts. So it may, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Try again. Okay, now we just need a new battery and a circuit board. Okay, folks. What a freaking nightmare. Man, learned a few lessons on that one, huh? If there's a relay buzzing, the relay might not be bad. If a starter looks like it's shorted out, starter might not be bad. Man, so what did we learn? We learned that sometimes a battery can measure 12 volts and still be messed up enough inside that it acts like the device you're trying to use is short-circuited, because that's what was happening. I tried to bench test the starter with that battery from the generator, and it would not jump the starter. It kept arcing out like something was wrong with the starter. Bring it back here, hook it up to that deep cycle battery that I used to just start up the generator, bench tests completely fine. My mind was completely grenading as to what was happening, and it was all because of that battery. That battery, as you may or may not have already heard, my theory is what caused the initial problem. I think that battery is somehow internally messed up, and I think it screwed up that printed circuit board. So what was happening is it would go to try to energize that relay, and either it's internally messed up somehow, I don't know, but it didn't have enough mustard to actuate the starter and to get it to jump and start the engine. Bad relay to bad starter to dead battery to dead circuit board. Man, now I gotta find a circuit board. I figure this video is probably super long by now with all the ridiculous diagnosis we've done that you guys are spent. I'm spent. At least I know for the time being that I can jump that starter relay and get the generator to start if we ever lose power. Really wanted to get it figured out before the winter because things can get kind of chilly and we can get outages for days at a time. Just depends. So anyway, I hope you got a little bit of enjoyment out of that and not just a really good nap. So, because I just learned a lot. It was definitely a good lesson. Anyway, as always, thanks for tuning in. Hope everyone's doing well. And we'll see you again next time right here on the Tractor Fella channel. Head bunt.